Hey guys, what's going on? This is Ed from vinylalbumcovers.com. You know what it is. You see the three of us. You know what we're in the middle of. We are in the middle of a Whitney-a-thon, if you will. We have already spoken of the first Whitney Houston album and some of the stuff that happened prior to it. If you didn't see it, what is the matter with you? Click the link in the description. Thank you. Click the link in the description and catch up. Don't be stupid.
Get your life.
Get your thing together. But now we're gonna go into the second record.
Too much Michael Walden.
Well, hold on. Wait a minute now. Hold on. So this one was done in June the 2nd, 1987 is when we got this one, also on Arista Records. Hugely successful record, even more so than the first one. But there are reasons for that, and we will get into that. So let's begin with our esteemed guest, Mr. Ed Bowser.
As always, thank you so much for having your boy on, but we here to talk about sophomore jinxes.
Oh no, it's like that?
No, it's not like that. I was just going to see your
like
response.
That?
Yeah.
I was just going to, you can't look at the success of this album and call it that. But this album is interesting, and Ed, I want your opinion on this. As we said last time, my Whitney, I came into Whitney in the 90s, so a lot of these albums that we're talking about early on, I was not there to witness it. So a lot of my stuff comes from the periphery, talking to my family members, hearing how things went, just some little stuff that I picked up on. So Whitney did her thing. She's already established herself. She's a star. Second album comes around, and this is the album, correct a brother if I'm wrong, where we started getting the whispers that Whitney was going to pop. Yeah. Because this album is poppy to pop.
And got booed.
Yes, and but I will say objectively, even though I never really go back to revisit this album, it's not really for me. Objectively, I don't think it's a bad album. It's just not the type of album I get with. So of all the albums we'll talk about, other than some later ones that we'll talk about, this is the one I probably revisit the least. And on Soul and Stereo, where I rank the albums, even though I gave it a good score, this one is kind of on the second half of her discography for me, just because I felt like it was just a little bit, it didn't feel like Whitney. It was a little left for me. But it's still a solid album. I will say that.
Okay, so favorite song on the Whitney record for you? What is your favorite song on this record? If you had to only pick one, I get the feeling this will not be difficult for you. But if you had to pick one.
My least favorite is definitely not difficult. We'll get to that in a second.
He wants to go bad first. Okay.
But my favorite is basic, but I guess I Want to Dance. Like, that's the only thing that I kind of listen to.
Really?
Occasionally. I
think you'd say that. Okay.
I don't hate this album, y'all. I don't hate it. I think it's a good album, but it just never connected with me. Never did. Other than the singles, I never really got down with it. The album cuts did not do much for me. Now, let me tell you something about that. Love is a contact sport. Can we get that thing out of here? No, sir. No, sir.
That was...
Get it out.
That was my least favorite, or one of my least favorites anyway. Oh man, that's
good into the Phantom Zone. We out of here. Nope. I love y'all, but if anybody defends that song on this podcast, we got problems. No, sir.
I don't think you'll have that problem here, bro.
Okay, I'm glad. Let's do we good. No,
you will be fine there. We are all on that island with you. Okay, so that went badly. All right. Dre. Go ahead.
All right. So
that was visceral.
I have it in my soul. Yes. I have. Anyway, go ahead.
I can tell. It's obvious.
So I did say that there was too much Michael Walden on this album, but my favorite song from this album is actually from him, though, produced by him. I want to say, just a lonely talking again. I actually like that song. It's like a kind of has more of like a quiet storm, kind of a jazz feel to it. It's kind of Whitney being more sensual. I believe this is one of the first songs I ever heard from her where she was kind of being sensual, you know, in that kind of, this is the kind of vibe I got from that particular song. And I actually like Where Are You? I like that as well from Kashif. Another one that he did. We didn't get, like I said, we didn't get enough of him with Whitney throughout her career, and I think that's very, very, very unfortunate.
Agreed.
As far as the ones that I didn't like, man, I mean, I feel like I Want to Dance with Somebody is just kind of, it's the same thing as How Will I Know? Like, I feel like too much of this album was kind of built off of that template. The template, I feel like.
Oh yeah.
Not mad at that.
And Love Is a Contact Sport. Yeah, we won't speak of that again. That was kind of weird. But I actually did want to give a shout out to another song that I did like. I did like her Isley Brothers remake. I thought that was pretty decent. It was a little bit more upbeat because the Isley Brothers version is a little more depressing, if that makes any sense. Great song, but it's just a little bit more depressing. This one isn't as depressing. I really did like her. I liked her version a lot. So those were my three favorites. And then, you know, my least favorite was probably her opening track. I can probably get into Didn't We Almost Have It All? I didn't really care for that either. Surprisingly, I didn't really like a lot of the album cut, the singles on this at all. Just wasn't really for me. I like some of the album cuts better. Was the Izzy remake? Was that a did they get released as a single? I don't remember.
I don't remember that.
No, they didn't release it.
You guys do remember that?
It is good. It's good too. I like it.
Yeah. So
it's different for her, but I like it.
Yeah, I thought the duet with her mom was solid. But yeah, you know, like you said, Ed, it's not a bad album, but it just was beneath what Whitney is capable of. It didn't really do her justice.
Right.
But I was saying the same thing to the other Ed last night, that it just didn't really it didn't showcase Whitney the way she should be showcased.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is the sound of like Clive Davis going mad. That's what it is. This is just Clive going for the pop throat.
It worked, but like I said, it just wasn't for.
Yeah, but it was expensive. It did work. You're right, but it was expensive. I mean, Ed was dead on with what was going on at this point. It's like, what are you, white? Like she just went completely pop with it, and the backlash was very unpretty, and it led to the next record. You were about to say something. Go ahead.
What was the video where she's walking through, and it looks like this rainbow colored? Was that this? What song was that? Where she's like it's like a music video she's doing. She's like walking through like a hallway, and there's like different people dancing, jumping out, and they're dancing in front of her. Then they jump back, and then there's like a bunch of rainbow colors. And
How Will I Know? Is that what you're thinking of?
I think so. Yeah, that sums up that entire album right there. That video.
I don't remember the dance. I remember the dance, and I don't remember the rainbow colors. I gotta go.
Whatever. It was just really bright and colorful, and she's like walking down a hallway, and she's like,
it was a very glittery kind of.
Yeah.
I think that's
ball
it.
Hair and
she looked very beautiful though. You know, as always.
But just very
pop, like Cyndi Lauper. Yeah.
Very white friendly. Yeah, very Cyndi Lauper. I agree with you.
Yeah.
With slightly better vocals, because Cyndi could sing too for sure. But yeah, I mean, I agree with everything that's been said. It's a very pop record. I Want to Dance with Somebody Who Loves Me, of course, is about the dance of life, not really about dancing. And it was another one written by Boy Meets Girl, it's basically How Will I Know sideways. There's really very little difference between the two tunes. Of course, with this tune, they ended up getting the attention of RCA Records, and they got signed to a record deal and ended up having a hit with a song that they originally submitted to Whitney for this record called Waiting for a Star to Fall. That was originally for Whitney. Whitney rejected it. They put it out on their own and had an absolutely giant hit with it. So congratulations, Boy Meets Girl. You earned it. And it's a great sounding record. Arif Mardin produced it. It's a good sounding record. For a pop record, it's really good. Didn't We Almost Have It All is another one that just sounds too old for her. I don't believe her. I never did. What do you know about this? What do you know about this? This is like a world weary thing, and you couldn't possibly understand this.
Yeah.
It sounds good on it. It just doesn't feel natural coming from her.
I love that you're bringing this up, Ed, because again, I'm thinking back to me being little Ed at this time. And when I realized that she was, as an older person, that she was as young as she was singing these songs, I was like, I thought she was older than this. And it's because she's singing these songs that seem like they're coming from someone much more mature.
Yeah.
They really are. I mean, Michael Masser had done plenty of work with Diana Ross, and just he worked with Barry Manilow, had worked with singers who were older. George Benson is another one that he worked with when they did the original version of Greatest Love of All, which is a funeral dirge in his hands. He sounds fine on it, but it's just badly arranged. It's not his fault. Whitney clearly got the better of him on that one, because hers is just it's in a different key. It's not quite so funeral dirgy, and it worked in her hands, I felt, but just didn't work so well in his because of arrangement issues, even though he produced both records, so go figure. But by the time we get so emotional, it's just an inconsequential pop thing that apparently originally sounded more like Prince, before it narrowed to Michael Walton got his hands on it. He slowed it down a bit. And the original demo for So Emotional by Billy Steinberg and Tom Kelly is online. You can actually find it and listen to it. It sounds very different.
Is it better?
No, it's not. I don't think it's better. It's faster, and Tom is the one doing the singing, and it doesn't sound right coming from a guy.
Okay.
It's intended for a woman to sing, at least in my opinion, and it's just kind of this inconsequential pop thing with a halfway decent guitar solo in it. It doesn't really do anything for me. Never really did.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm running off at the lips here, but the duet was nice with her mother. I thought that was really nice too. I agree with you. And it's important to know too that she sang backgrounds on a lot of this stuff too.
Who's that? Her mom?
Yeah, Sissy was on the backgrounds of a lot of these things. Just a great voice and great background singer.
Yeah, had a very solid career herself before Whitney even, came into the picture musically.
Yeah. The Drinkard sisters, and she's been busy forever.
Yeah. Did you hear the story about Whitney meeting Elvis when she was 6 or 7?
No, tell.
Yeah, it wasn't like, she didn't really give much of a story, but basically her mom was doing backup vocals for Elvis back in, I want to say like 1970, 1971. Whitney happened to be backstage with her, and they were discussing some stuff. Whitney was there, and then I guess Cissy introduced Elvis to her daughter. Say, hey, this is my daughter Whitney, and Elvis shook her hand, said a couple things to her, and that was it.
I never knew about that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's a cool little story. I'm glad you added that in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's new to me.
Yeah.
But okay, so as far as like favorite off this record, it's funny because as I was listening to this record, because it has so many hits on it, you just figure, well, how hard can that be? But then you really go back and listen, because they did the same thing you did, Dre. And I was like, and you too, Ed. And I was like, man, I don't know. This isn't as good as I remembered it being.
Yeah.
It's kind of a bit of a letdown. I mean, because I'm much more an R&B creature than I am a pop creature.
Yeah.
Right.
We all are.
Yeah, and like I said, I think if I'm just being unbiased and looking at it, it's a well-constructed album.
Yeah,
Will
definitely.
I listen to it again? I listened to it for this podcast for the first time in years. I'm still like, I probably won't listen to it again for another 10 years. It's just not for me.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get it. I'm not in a hurry to do it either. But I mean, the record sold hand over fist, but it sold hand over
20 million.
Audiences.
Correct.
Yeah, it was a huge hit on the pop charts. It didn't exactly do nothing on the R&B charts either, but it is interesting that it peaked at number 2 and it didn't go all the way to number 1. I think that's kind of interesting because the first Whitney Houston record did go to number 1 on the R&B charts.
Yeah.
So, I mean, number 2 is still really, really good.
What was number 1? I'm bad.
I don't know. I can't tell by looking. I'm
87.
Looking at Wikipedia. I won't.
Yeah, I mean, you always have to kind of see what else was swirling at the time.
Yeah. I know
Yeah.
Prince and Michael had dropped albums in 87 too, so that's probably what it was.
I mean, it could have been Faith by George Michael, because that went to number 1.
Yeah, that's true too.
The R&B chart. So
Very true.
It stayed there for a number of weeks, actually. So,
yeah.
Great record. My gosh. But in terms of favorites off this record, probably for me, my favorite off this album would be Where Do Broken Hearts Go? Because it does sound vaguely R&B to me, especially when you hit the bridge. I know, bridge in a song, go figure.
I miss you so much, Bridge.
Thank you. I love you, Bridge. But the bridge is just beautiful in this tune. It's very well written, and she sings it like she cares, like she's totally into it. And just the end of it, just that last "you still care for me" and her whispering, that kind of whisper thing. It feels very positive and very real, and she totally has me. So I think of all the tunes on this record, I think that's probably the best one for me. In terms of worst, Love Is a Contact Sport. Thank you very much.
You're my guy. Yes, thank you. Just making sure we're all on the same page here.
Yeah, because when I listened to that, I was kind of like, okay, yeah, let's move on. Like it was.
Yes.
Never. I don't even remember that song, ever until a couple of days ago when I heard it.
There's a reason.
Yeah.
And you'll never hear it again, will you?
That's the definition of filler right there. The definition of filler.
Oh, it is. It's like it's vinyl helper. That's exactly what it is. It's such vinyl helper. Oh. Yeah, this is. I'm looking at the track. You're Still My Man. Am I? There's just some mistakes here. This is. It's interesting what time will do. Like when you look at a record, especially one that sold the way this one did, because it did do really well. I think your figure's probably right, Dre, but I'm going to cheat and look at 10 million records, 10 million plus. So it's sold really, really well.
Yeah.
But then you look at the track listing of the record and it's like, well, I didn't realize this record was this uneven, but it really is. And it's just so skewed pop.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody just wholesale dismiss their audience the way she does with this record. She really does. And she apparently has no qualms doing it. And the record sold completely through the roof.
That award show changed her tune, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, as a strategy, I understand, but better days were ahead.
Yeah, much better.
It just seems so interesting to me that Clive was so calculated with that first record and was so careful about making sure that all of the bases were covered.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the time he gets to this second record, he's like, never mind. And he just throws the R&B audience completely away, almost entirely away, and just goes straight pop.
I mean, we've seen it a million times, though. There's an artist that shows so much talent. They are like, oh, we can go bigger, we can go pop, we can go this, we can get the numbers, we can get the sales, and we just leave poor R&B in the dust. Welcome to the 2010s. Like, that's what happened. So, like, it's unfortunately not uncommon.
Yeah, it's really, really sad. He just completely, and I mean, Clive is known for doing this, and it's not hurting anybody's pocketbook, to be sure. I just don't know how artistically successful that approach is, where you kind of just go for the throat like this. And it really, to be clear, I mean, I was there for this, and I remember she was doing an appearance on the Arsenio Hall show. She was booed. It didn't go well.
Yeah.
That audience had no interest because she left them by the side of the road, and they were just like, "Oh, you're back now. How nice. Hi.
Yeah.
Don't you have somewhere else to be? Shouldn't you be on Donahue or something? Like some white show? You don't belong here." Like the whole like slip between the crack thing started to happen.
Yeah.
And there were definite problems occurring because of this. Yeah, fine. She sold 10 million records, and that's good. That's really phenomenal. I mean, how many diamond sellers you know of? Ain't many of them.
Right.
No, not really.
But from an artistic perspective, this was expensive. This was not good. It caused major problems. And so she had to find a way out of it. And this is where I'm going to leave you because I'm cruel. So thank you very much for watching The Front. I have been Ed. That is Dre. You know who he is. He's not going to say anything. He's just going to laugh. That is Ed Bowser. And we're going to keep recording, but you're not going to see it until you see the next edit of this. So thank you very much for watching. And until we see each other next time, please keep listening to great music, preferably not the Whitney album. Bye now.
You said perfect, not the Whitney album.
It ain't that bad.
Cold-blooded, man.
But I don't like it.
Cold-blooded.
It's